So welcome to this session. In this session we are going to use the pipelines with respect to Azure platform. So we have already seen what actually the CI/CD is and what are various kinds of tools we are going to use for CI and CD. So and also version control tools we have discussed from the past two sessions. In this session we are going to concentrate on a platform which is a cloud related platform to be considered for the pipeline concept. So the major objective of this particular session is to know about the usage of Azure pipeline. Now we will see what actually the Azure pipelines is. So whenever we are going to see the pipeline concepts, or we are going to see some servers or whatever it is, now we are going to use the concept of cloud which is to be integrated as a part of our project. So out of such clouds we are having so many clouds like Amazon, Azure and Oracle, like Google. So every company are offering their own cloud platforms in order to run the projects. So out of which we are going to choose Azure pipelines as part of our requirement, and we will see what actually Azure pipelines are going to do. So Azure pipelines are the continuous integration delivery services which are offered by the Microsoft Azure, which is a cloud platform for facilitating the developers, testers and also for deployment. So here what we have to do is we have to define the pipeline with respect to the YAML syntax, or all the tasks what we are going to use or what we are going to do with respect to the Azure pipelines are to be done with respect to YAML syntax. What is meant by YAML? At another markup language. So this is one kind of language, markup language, which is going to be used by the Azure for reading the commands or for executing the commands, and all these workflows are going to be provided in the same YAML format only. And the important part for using this Azure pipelines is it is going to provide multi-stage pipelines for complex project. So we'll see what actually the multi-stage pipelines are in this session itself, but on a overall view I will tell you what actually the multi-stage pipeline is. Multi-stage pipeline is nothing but a kind of a pipeline which it is going to have some branches like structures. See, suppose for example if we are going to develop a product, the product will not be developed in the same level, we will have some hierarchies, right? So all such hierarchies are going to be linked with respect to some features, and all such features are going to be applied in the website stage by stage. So that is what we are going to call as the multi-stage pipelines. So the major essence is going to major essence of the or major backbone of the project is going to act as the core branch or the main branch, and for that main branch whatever the additional features or additional functionalities we are going to offer, all those things are going to be done in different stages or in different levels. So such level by level implementation and integration can be applicable with respect to the Azure pipelines. Now we will see how an Azure pipeline can be created. So first step is we have to sign into the Azure DevOps. So once after to sign up into the Azure DevOps, we have to need the two things. Either we have to have the organizational account, or we have to have the Microsoft account. So Microsoft account is nothing but a mail account which is related to Microsoft, or either your organizational which is having tie up with respect to the Azure platform. Then once after that we have to create a new project by selecting git version controls and type of visibility. So we can't provide visibility for the project to the public while it is going to be developed, right? So either we have to choose public or private. So it will be public once if it was successfully deployed, or which is successfully usage, or which is currently in use can be placed under the public visibility, and private is the one which we will use to create the project with respect to a team itself. Once after creating the project with respect to the configuration according to the need of the project, we have to create the repository. So the repository is nothing but what we have seen as version control systems, either Git or Team Foundation version control system, or whatever the version control system you are going to use. You have to set up that particular version control system and you have to push that code in the repository what you have chosen. Then you have to build a pipeline. So in Azure DevOps we are having a specific tab called as pipelines. Then you have to click on create pipeline and you have to select your source repository where you have stored your entire code, and then you have to configure your repository settings according to the need. Then you have to choose a template for your pipeline. As I said, we are going to have different sort of platforms we can able to use for creating the project, like .NET or Node.js or Python, whatever it is. So we are going to use such templates according to the need, and then we have to create a YAML file which is suitable to your project needs. Once if you have selected that or created that YAML file, you can able to say that your pipeline has been completed to use. Then you have to run trigger for creating the pipeline. Then you have to add test and build tasks. So what is building and testing? So continuous integration can be done with respect to build, and deployment can be able to perform the testing. So all these things are going to be added within this particular step. And once after the unit testing and updation of code has been done, it has to be integrated with respect to the deployment. Then you have to configure the triggers in the pipeline if you want to use for any code or comments. Then once after the entire part has been completed, from this particular stage you have to create the branch filters if you want to create multi-stage projects. And once after such definition have been done, we have to save the pipeline and we can able to commit it. Then multi-stage pipeline. So here we are going to have different stages. Trigger. So trigger is nothing but in order to enter from one stage to another stage, or from main branch to sub branches, we have to create a trigger, and that trigger is going to be called as an action which will take the control from main branch to sub branches. And the pool is nothing but the recent version of the machine what you are going to use can be called as the pool. And stages. So for every stage we are going to have three things: build, test and deploy, as we seen in the earlier message, earlier slide. So if you want to create any sort of stage, we can able to use all these three things. Build stage is nothing but use it to build the particular phase, and once after that phase has been built, then we have to go for testing, and once after the testing has been done, we have to go for the deployment phase. And these are the Azure services which we are going to get with respect to the Azure pipelines. So for that you have to understand what are the services which are offered by Azure. To know that, you have to use official documentation to use the services of Azure, and then integration steps have to be explained, and then implementation of code has to be done, and then personal insights. Personal insights are nothing but your mark of adding touch in the code. So everyone are going to have their own mark in coding. So your style of mark has to be included in the code, and that is what we are going to call it as the personal insight. And then you have to refer the external sources wherever you have taken, because some of the part of projects which were already available earlier, like payment gateways. So payment gateway is not built by ourselves, so it is done by someone and which is already available. So you have to use such particular references when you are using the external sources. And last, we should not able to do copy and pasting because it is going to have some errors, and also we can able to get some mistakes, right? And then we have to go for the plagiarism check to verify whether the correctness of the product is. And these are the self-assessment questions which you can able to expect from this session. As usual, these are the references which you want to create for which you can use to refer the entire topic. Thank you.